Just a quick one here today. Greg Kokel made a video. First off, I love Greg Kokel, and he wrote a book along with Francis Beckwith called Relativism: Feet Firmly Planted in Midair. Highly recommend that book if you're interested in studying ethics, or if you don't know anything about relativism, moral relativism would be well worth the read. Change your life, change the way you see things. It's good stuff. Um, the name of his YouTube channel is Stand to Reason, and sorry, kind of busy here at work, but wanted to squeeze this in because since I may not have time tomorrow to make a video. But he said something tonight. I put a post on the bottom. I'll see if he responds, but I don't quite understand his reasoning on this. They were talking about the free will defense. It says, God allows us to have free will, and therefore that will allow evil to incur, but it outweighs the benefits of free will outweigh the negatives of the existence of evil. I have not embraced that view for a very long time. I think I could be wrong about this. I think it's fallen out of favor in evangelical circles. Certainly, I think there's some people that embrace it because they embrace that theology because they think it's a really good defense. There are better defenses than the free will defense as far as the existence of evil goes. Why is there a God? Why is there God and the existence of evil at the same time? But there's a guy who makes videos and he has the woods behind him, and the minute he hears a noise, every video he does this, he goes. So I'm going to start doing that here, like at UPS, and be like, all right. Anyway, so, but what Kokel said that I disagree with is he said the atheists, when it comes to questions about the existence of evil, the atheists, given their presuppositions, don't have a seat at the table. And what he's saying here is a really good point. He's saying, look, what is evil in an atheistic framework? Why is murder evil and not taking care of an elderly person? What makes that good, and what makes one good and the other evil? And he's saying that the atheist has no grounds to stand on in this area. And the reason why I disagree with this is because atheists, just like Christians, I am allowed to work within an atheistic framework to critique atheism. Kind of what Greg Kokel was doing here, by the way, too. He was putting himself in the mindset of an atheistic framework, right? An atheistic worldview, and saying, okay, given atheistic assumptions, here's where the conclusions I have to arrive to, okay? But the atheist, it's special pleading to say that the atheist can't do the same thing. The atheists can do the same thing. Why can't they do the same thing? Why can they not adopt a Christian perspective and say, well, why is it that if there's a God, X, Y, and Z evil exists? And what I mean by special pleading is when you say, I'm exempt from something that I'm accusing you of. So I'm not trying to be too hard on Greg Kokel here. I understand his reasoning on it, but my point that I'm trying to make is that there's, just because an atheist doesn't have the proper footing to talk about good and evil from their own worldview, doesn't mean that they can't operate within the Christian framework to critique Christianity. They can do that. There's nothing logically unreasonable about that, or there's nothing unsound about it. And the reason why I even bring something like this up is because it's a great point that Greg Kokel's making in a certain context. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if an atheist was saying, oh, well, Christians have no right to claim that God is good because evil exists, then I would say that Greg Kokel would be wise to point out, well, wait a minute, you have no basis for claiming any such thing as evil to begin with. In that case, yes. But it was sort of just brought up out of the blue and saying they don't have any grounds to stand on. Maybe he just misspoke. That's quite possible. But it's something worth thinking about for ourselves, is saying, hey, if we're going to critique other views, we may have to work within their framework in order to critique their views. And we should allow them to do the same thing. Albert Mohler one time said this on his radio show that he had for a while, was that atheists edify Christianity when they critique it. And I totally agree with that. I think that if you take our worldview serious enough to critique it, then I like that, because it shows that our view is worth contemplation. Anyway, not sure how helpful that ultimately is, but it's something to think about.